Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Hot Drop Podcast, where today, myself and Jason are going to be diving into the biggest downfalls in the power ranking after the PUBG Mobile World Cup. And if we want to bring up the spiciest storyline of them all, we need to kick things off with Vampire Esports. When we think about PMWC, we mainly have to turn our attention over to Vampire Esports. This is the team that, as we know, won the 2022 and 2023 edition of those mid-seasonal tournaments. Though they do also do pretty well outside of PMWC this year. They do get himself a third place over in PMGO, which allows them to maintain a decent position in the rankings until now, which they did go down from 4th position down into 8th position. Though, compared to last year, I would love to see if Vampire Esports can make it into the finals of this year's PMGC. If they can make that happen, then maybe they can make their way back into the top 5 of the power ranking.
But for Alter Ego, they dropped 16 placings in the power ranking. Now, honestly, that's going to be expected and probably not that bad of a deal for them, considering they didn't get to play in the event, so they missed out on any single point they could possibly accumulate from this one. The hope for them with PMSL SEA all season now already starting, they have a chance to rectify and redeem themselves at PMGC if they can qualify. But another team who has to do so is going to be Team Spirit, because they did play in the World Cup, but they didn't make it to the main event. They were one of the 4 teams to go straight through into the survival stage, and they did horribly in the very first 2 matches of the event. However, with some roster changes they did pull up with Matic joining the team and Naomi leaving, we'll see if they can manage to rectify their own situation at PMGC if they do qualify.
Well, Jason, we're talking about teams here like Team Spirit. They need to qualify into PMGC. Well, I'm going to have to bring up DRS here that are desperate for position in PMGC because they dropped down significantly in the power rankings. Actually, one of the bigger drop-offs we have seen after PMWC. They went from 24th position down to 49th position. That's a 25 position drop-off, which is significant for DRS. And the main issue and the main cause for this drop-off has been the fact that they have not played a global event in a hot minute. This is a team that needs to qualify for PMGC during PMSL CSA Fall, and they do have some players that can maybe make that happen, especially Sleepy. This guy is a menace when it comes to playing long range, so there's definitely some hope in the air for DRS, because if they don't make it, their position in the power ranking might just be revoked.
And taking a look at the future here, Max, one team we have to mention is, of course, Alpha 7. They were first place in our power rankings ever since they first were created, and of course maintained it after taking home the title at the World Cup, breaking their streak of being unable to win an international event. Taking a look towards the future, though, we can expect Alpha 7 to probably maintain this first place, considering they've been pretty much unstoppable for the last, it feels like, almost couple of years. Now, we might see some roster swaps happen here or there, but I have no doubt in my mind that they're going to qualify for PMGC yet again. Maybe that gap that they currently have will be closed a little bit on because of the amount of points they got at last year's PMGC, but I don't expect any team to be able to pass them.
I would have to agree, Jason. It doesn't seem possible to catch up to Alpha 7, but if there's one team that can maybe close the gap a little bit by the end of this year, it is going to be Reject. There's such a great rivalry building up between those 2 teams, and this, again, we mentioned it many times on the broadcast, is the best Japan has ever looked in the past 5+ years of PUBG Mobile Esports existence. So right now, I would love to see Reject do well going into PMGC and maybe close their gap just a little bit. With that said, thank you so much, guys, for checking out this episode of the Hot Drop Podcast, and we'll see you guys by the end of the year for an update on the power ranking.